Mr. Anthony, what assurances do you hope to get while you're here?
I don't know whether I'm going to get any assurances whatsoever, but I'm going to try and put Australia's position as clearly as I possibly can once again. I hope to be able to get some consideration during the transitional period for Australia, and I hope to be able to make an impact on the United Kingdom and the community countries as to the consequences of the impact of Britain's entry to the community on other agricultural producing countries.
Does this mean that you have not been successful in making this impact before?
I don't know how one measures success before any negotiations are completed, but up to date I would say we haven't had a very warm response as far as Australia's position is concerned.
The Queensland Premier has spoken today of the callous indifference of Britain. Would you go as far as that?
I haven't seen the Premier's statement. I wouldn't like to make a comment on that.
What is your view of the present way negotiations in Brussels are going?
I think Britain seems very earnest in her desire to enter the community. As far as Australia is concerned, she feels that it is strong enough and big enough to look after itself, but it doesn't seem to realise the consequences for large communities in Australia which are dependent upon the sales of its agricultural commodities to its traditional market, the United Kingdom.
If things do go badly for Australia in the negotiations, is there any possibility of reprisals on your part against Britain?
I don't think we're here to threaten the United Kingdom. It's a decision that they have to make for themselves.
Mr. Anthony, you recently accused Britain of ignoring Australian interests in her common market negotiations. How?
I don't recall using that word, that they have ignored us. I may have said that there seems to be a lack of sympathy on the part of Britain as to the repercussions on Australia's agricultural industries. And I think I'm fair in making that comment because Australia seems to be most noticed by lack of comment.
What terms would satisfy you?
I don't think we're asking for terms and conditions, but what we're asking for is some recognition of just what this is going to do to countries like Australia who have to depend on markets for many of their agricultural products. Britain, of course, today imports about $4,000 million worth of food. It is the main market for many of the food-producing countries of the world. If it's to be shut off from the United Kingdom and the European market, it will completely dislocate the marketing of agricultural commodities by those countries which haven't got a market to depend upon.
Why haven't you asked for the same sort of safeguards that New Zealand has asked for to protect her dairy products?
I'm afraid we're almost sick and tired of asking. We've been asking this for 10 years. Indeed, this was one of the factors that prevented Britain being accepted by the community in the early 60s. But since then, Britain has taken an attitude that whilst Australia is a much stronger nation economically, New Zealand depends very heavily on her sales of agricultural commodities to the United Kingdom and must be accommodated in some form. I don't argue with this, I understand it, but I know that in my own country there are hundreds of thousands of people in communities as large as New Zealand, which are going to be equally affected.
You say you've been asking for 10 years, but you've also had 10 years in which to make your arrangements.
We have diverted quite considerably our markets from the United Kingdom during this period of time. But there are some commodities which have been produced and developed over half a century for the United Kingdom market. Indeed, it is the only market in the world that you can find a home for many of your dairy products your canned fruits, your dried fruits, your fresh fruits, and so it's not easy to find another market.